I think one of the most iconic moments of your career people know you for is probably the power.
Absolutely.
Beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I like this question because it ties back into a cosign, right? So having a cosign from Rhymefest basically got you the introduction with Kanye.
Yes.
Can you tell us how you knew Rhymefest and how that cosign helped catapult your career?
Yeah, so big ups to my guy Rhymefest. I met Rhymefest through a relationship I had with a guy named Fonte Coleman from the group Little Brother. And so me and Fonte, we built a relationship, and we was working on music. He would do stuff for my projects, and I would do the same for his. And it was a situation that came up to where, you know, he already had a relationship with Rhymefest, and Rhymefest needed needed someone to complete a task for him. So Fonte reached out to me and was like, "Yo, Rhymefest has this task. He needs a producer to do this work. Do this job for him." So I was like, "Cool, I'm with it." So he connected us. I was able to complete a task for Rhymefest doing a song called "Say What's Up," and he liked that. He liked what I did to the record, and we just started working. I was sending him beats, and it came a time to where he was at the end of his budget for his album. So he reached out and was like, "Hey, S1, all these beats are incredible. There's it's 4 that I like, but I only can pay you for 2 of them." So it was a situation where I had to kind of think to myself, and the end result of that is him paying for the 2 beats and me giving him the other 2 beats. So that being of service to someone in need turned into like a lifetime full of fruitful blessings to me.
Man, that's an amazing story. So when it came down to actually the introduction, like how the actual cosign, do you know how the actual cosign happened? Was it a conversation where Kanye already had something to gain a Rhymefest and like, I know just the person, or how did you work on how it actually happened?
Okay, so this is crazy too, because while I'm on my end, while I'm still at the crib trying to figure things out, my next moves, Rhymefest had asked me for another batch of beats. He had told me, he was like, "Yo, I'm out here with Kanye in Hawaii. Send me a batch of beats over, and if I get the opportunity, I'll try to play them for him." So I sent the beats and had heard back from him, and it was like 2 weeks I hadn't heard back from him. So in my mind, I had already said that, okay, number 1, either Kanye didn't like the stuff that I sent, or number 2, he didn't get to play them for him. So, you know, I'm carrying on about my everyday life and just trying to find out my next move. Well, within that 2 weeks, he was playing the beats for Kanye, and Kanye had already started working on these beats. Wow. So around the 2-week mark, I get a text from Rhymefest, and the text says, "Kanye is loving your stuff. He said he's about to change your life." Wow. So I'm looking at this text and trying to figure it all out. And then the next day, or a couple days later, I get an email from Don C., who was Kanye's manager at the time, and he said, "Get to the airport. Your flight leaves to Hawaii in a few hours."
Wow. So it really happens just like
it
that.
It happened just like that, yeah. And like I said, because I couldn't see it, I couldn't see what was going on in Hawaii, but while I was stressing out over my next move, God was already in the process of working that out, and I didn't even know it until I got that text.
That's amazing. Were you working on anything back home that was hard for you to just pack up and leave at that moment, or was it just like a no-brainer?
No, that was definitely a no-brainer, because that's what I was working up to that moment. And you know, just to add on to that, prior to this moment happening, there were 3 situations, and I'll get into it a little later, but there were 3 situations to where that I knew that these were going to be my breakout moments, and they never panned out. So it was very disappointing and very, very discouraging for me at that point in my career, and trying to rebuild from that and trying to figure out what's next, and then all of a sudden that comes through.
Yeah, that's amazing. So so we went over the actual cosign, right? Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the power, literally, of that cosign.
Okay.
Right? After that comes out, how did your life change?
Oh, my life changed dramatically or drastically. So To be honest with you, on that day that Power dropped, it was insane. Like, it was so overwhelming because I don't know how they did it, but for instance, I got calls from 4 different publishing companies: Universal, Sony, EMI, and another one. They called me that day. Like, they found my number. They called me, yo, we want to fly you out, have meetings with you. So with that, and then my social media was going crazy. People just congratulating me, and then artists was hitting me up like, yo, I want to lock in with you. So it was super overwhelming that whole week, you know. So my life, it changed. It definitely changed for the better when that dropped.